lipstick, eyeliner, blusher, makeup. Hello and welcome to another English podcast with Paul. I'm your host, Paul. And as if you haven't already worked it out, we're talking about makeup, specifically the dark side of the beauty industry. All right, so as always, unedited, unscripted, natural, native conversation with me, Paul, who speaks with a British accent. And let's dive right into it. I do have some notes to try and seem a bit more professional. I've done some research, just a little bit, just scratching below the surface. And somewhere I have some glasses, hopefully. Oh, there they are. Okay, makeup. So, quite a lot of studies. One study says that over time, we put on around 2 pounds, that's like 1 kilogram of chemicals on our body that's absorbed into the body. Now, I don't know if you've ever watched any YouTube videos where people lie in a bath of baked beans. So normally for charity and to raise some money. But if you lie in a bath of anything, your body, your skin, is like an eggshell. It's porous. It takes in the liquids that you're sat in. So I watched one video where a person sat in a bath of alcohol. And then after a few hours, they measured their alcohol level in their body and in their bloodstream. And it was surprising. They were not intoxicated, they were not drunk, but it did show the body absorbed some alcohol equivalent to maybe 1 drink. So fairly low levels, but it was pretty concrete proof that the body absorbs liquids or chemicals into the body through the skin. And I thought that's really interesting, really interesting. So to hear that this study said that we women in general, or people in general that use makeup, over a lifetime can absorb 1 kilogram of chemicals into their body from makeups. 1 kilogram. That's a lot of chemicals to get absorbed into your body. Now, I know there's dead skin cells and there's lots of things floating around in the air that your body will absorb as well. But what you have control over, and consciously putting those chemicals onto your skin seems like a bad idea. Right. Obviously, I'm not a woman. I'm not succumbed to the pressures a woman has in regards to wearing makeup. But let's dive into it and find out more. Let's find out some more. Right. So there's lots of studies that talk about the chemicals and the dark sides and the amount of money. I think I read just now 120 billion units each year of packaging end up in the environment, whether it's in a landfill or in the sea somewhere. There's an excessive amount of packaging. Wow, okay. Well, we'll get more onto that in a moment, but yeah, there's lots of other side effects and dark parts. All right. Goodness me. We've got a lot to talk about. Right. Health. Health. Do we cover that? Yeah, we cover that side of it down there, but health. So one of the things I saw just now when I was looking up the dark sides of makeup and the health industry was the fact that many of these chemicals that are used in makeups are concerned to be linked to carcinogens. Carcinogens. I don't know. Meaning connected and linked to cancer. So that's quite scary just to start with. Whether it be breast cancer and malignant mesothelioma, that scares the hell out of me. I mean, I've talked on here before about why people shave their armpits and then spray aluminium and other metals and chemicals straight into the pores of those freshly cut armpits. And then there is, as far as I'm aware, a correlation between those chemicals going into a woman's armpit and then the nearest organ to the armpit, as you can guess, is the breast. And breast cancer increasing on a very similar trajectory to the amount of deodorants being used from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and upwards. That's quite concerning, quite concerning. But another one I wouldn't expect was like women getting very dry skin, women getting very oily skin, obviously depending on the makeup they use, and the skin conditions and skin problems that can be caused by makeup. Breakouts, eye infections, blotchiness, early aging, lots and lots of issues. So, you know, like I said, we'll circle back, but I am not a woman and I don't have the pressures, but I think maybe because men are more logical or what, I don't know, but the idea of your skin being a sponge and it absorbs, and then people putting on chemicals and oils specifically, it just doesn't seem to be a very good idea for your health of your body. I don't know. Maybe that's just my perspective. Right, I digress. I digress. Right. So yeah, there's a lot of health issues with makeup, and we can go into that a lot deeper maybe next time. But makeup's really got a bad reputation when it comes to health. All right. What else? Financial. Oh my goodness, some of these creams and potions and lotions, super expensive. Amazing, amazing. I'm not saying it's an addiction, but wow, I'm not surprised. Some of you ladies are looking for a good bargain and always hunting around the makeup aisle for a good price and good quality products, because some of them are super expensive. Just imagine like from young years you were paying out, say, I don't know, let's just say £10 a week on makeups or products. Over a lifetime, that really equates to a lot of money. Whew, a lot of money. And I know people have a lot of pressure to look that way, and we'll get onto that now. But yeah, that financial impediment from buying all this makeup over the decades, astronomical amount of money, doesn't bear thinking about. Okay, expectation. Now, this is interesting because my wife said that there is a real big expectation from many societies, not all societies, but from many societies, to look really glamorous or beautiful. The expectation is that you know, maybe you go to work or you go to school and you look your absolute best, glamorous, ready for a photograph, and just be the most, what's the word, radiant, the radiant you can be. I think that's another problem, isn't it? The expectation. But we'll get into more of that in a moment. It's bad. It's bad. I suppose it must take a really strong individual to be able to push back against those expectations that society puts on them. All right, what else we got? Ah, yes. This is not in a perfect order. This is normally just how my brain spits out these thoughts and these ideas. But the next one was history, the history of makeup. So I don't know the whole history of makeup. I'm not a guru or a professional historian about makeup, but I do know that makeup and rouge on your lips was intended to show a suitor or another male that you are sexually ready and sexually excited and wanting the attention. So the red of your lips up here are supposed to imply blood flowing and puffed up ready lips down there. So that's just a part of the history, where it comes from and why. So that I think we'll get onto in a moment in regards to why, partly why we don't like children to wear lipstick. And I think that's a big connection to it. Okay, animals. Well, okay, so moving on to animals. So not just, although it should be enough, the cruelty to animals of putting these makeups, and that's one of the biggest industries that harm animals, is the makeup industry of like rabbits and mice and other animals with this makeup in their eye just to see if it make them cry or make their eyes water, and shampoos. And the torturous things that happen from the makeup industries to test on animals before humans get to use this product is really quite disturbing. You don't have to look far on the internet just to find some cruelty to animals, and I'm sure in a lot of them there'll be a connection to makeup. So that's very, very disturbing. And if that wasn't enough, a lot of the makeups were, and probably still are, made up a lot of from animals. So, for example, the lipsticks were normally made from whale blubber, whale fat, hence the really big whale industry back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. We're trying to get rid of it now, but it's still a little bit active in some parts of the world. But whale blubber spread on your face to, I don't know. Okay, so a lot of them animals are being used to put inside the product. We'll not even get onto perfume and the anus gland used to make perfume more long-lasting and natural and real. But yes, there is anus gland juices in most real expensive perfumes. We'll get onto that another time. Environmental. So I already mentioned about the packaging. A lot of over packaging and plastics in the product, where you're holding the lipstick or you're using a brush, a tiny little brush that falls apart after a couple of months. So from an environmental perspective, a lot of makeups and the packaging and the receptacle that is held in, often is made of plastic and gets thrown away pretty quickly. You know, the landfill sites in the oceans, things like that, there'll be lots of plastics. So that's another bad part of it. Now, I think there is some good makeups out there. Now, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I would recommend, like, for example, Lush. Lush have a lot of vegan products. And I think the Body Shop, no, Superdrug in the UK, the Superdrug do not use products tested on animals, not their own brands anyway. I think Body Shop has also got a lot of good ethics in some of their brands as well. So they are also slowly coming over to the more ethical side of not hurting animals or the planet. All right, so that was about the environment. There was something else I was going to say about Lush, I think it was. Yeah, Lush does a lot of good products for makeups and potions and lotions and that. And pretty safe as well for the body. Okay. Environmental, all right. Advertising and manipulation. Wow, wow. Where do we start with this? Advertising and manipulation. For hundreds of years, sex sales products. You know, you might see a picture or a video of a car being sold, driven around some streets, or some really quiet hillsides, you know, showing how the car is handling. But also there's always a pretty lady with lots of makeup on trying to encourage you to imply that you will get beautiful woman, your wife will be very beautiful if you have this car. And it's the same with, for example, Lynx deodorant. You know, if you use this deodorant, then you're going to get flocks of women chasing you because you smell amazing and gorgeous. This is the best smell in the world, Lynx. We will guarantee you get thousands of women. All this is implied, but never actually spoken. So the amount of manipulation to young men about this particular perfume, deodorant, and it's been happening for decades, making women feel inferior if they do not wear these products, if they're not looking radiant and gorgeous and amazing and their best self 100% of the time in public, then they should feel bad. This manipulation from the advertising industries and from now social media and magazines is terrible. It's really, really bad. And men are starting to become more succumb to this as well, with moisturizing from men on your hands, or other male products, and male grooming products. This manipulation by the advertising is terrible. All right, it's all right to say that we are adults able to make our own choices, but a lot of these products are aimed at children. Okay, before we go down that route, I said we are adults able to make our own choices. But if you're bombarded with 7, 8 adverts a day for makeup or cosmetics or beauty, sometimes it seeps in. You can't help it. You're bombarded with it. There really should be some regulation about what is allowed to bombard you in your brain, in your ears, in your eyes, with all these manipulating adverts trying to sell you crap that you don't need. It's terrible. Why is our government not stopping these money greedy grabbing manufacturers that just want to sell you this crap to put on your body because they make you feel inferior and that you will get more attention from the gender you wish if you wear their products? It's awful. It really is. I feel bad for young people. I really do. It's such a hard thing in this day and age without the manipulation of advertising. Okay. Dopamine. Again, dopamine, like the advertising. The fact you just bought it, you feel great. You get that little dopamine hit, that little, feel-good factor. Oh, yeah. I've been seeing this for weeks and weeks on the TV. I've been hearing about it for a long time. I've been, connected and seen and advertisements for this, and now I've got it. I'm gonna have the same as all the other people. Just that moment of dopamine hit, and then 2 weeks later, maybe a day later, you've forgotten all about it and you moved on to the next thing that's being bombarded in your ears and your eyes to buy something. Terrible. So something else my wife mentioned was that it's the idea to be prettier for men, to show them off like a trophy, ongoing expectation. Why do we feel we need a trophy of the most beautiful woman? There's got to say something about ourselves. But I don't know, maybe it's just this crazy advertising situation where you've got to say, hey, look, I'm doing really well in life. I've got this great job and great car, and now I've got this beautiful, amazing woman. She was a supermodel, or she won the world's beautifulest person in this country, or whatever. Oh, showing off and that expectation of always looking great for your man. Look your best for your man. That's awful thing, isn't it? Why should a woman make herself look great for her man? Oh, well, okay. Men's season. So men, this is what I was trying to explain to my wife. Well, not explain it, she already knows, but one thing I mentioned, that it seems like as men get older, they become more valuable. And as women get older, they often are perceived to be less valuable. So when you're young and you have a great body, you're very, very valuable from sort of 18, 19. And then as you go into your latter years, you're deemed to be perceived as less valuable. And it's the other way around for men to a point, to a certain level. Men are not looked at, not even thought about when they're young, when they're 18, 19, 20. They have very little respect. from women, from employers, from society. And it's only when they get into their late 30s or early 40s when they become more financially stable and more mature and educated and sophisticated as a man as you get older, up until the point of, say, 60-ish, something like that. And then again, society deems you less important or less valuable. It's not good, it's not right, it's just the way I think the society perceives people in the Western society, which is awful. So women have this expectation to try and keep themselves looking beautiful for as long as possible. So that means decades of buying this crap. Okay. Sponsor. This video is not sponsored by anybody, but if you'd like to know more information about the podcast, then you can watch the podcast for free on EnglishPodcastWithPaul.com. Also, you can mention something on the Facebook page, maybe add something or share something, and be part of the community. And again, that's English Podcast with Paul on Facebook. And then if you want to know a little bit more about my wife and I and the adventures and mischievous shenanigans we get up to, then take a look over on Instagram on Second Class Hobos. And there's also a website for that as well, secondclasshobos.com. So feel free to have a mooch over on there. All right, back to the rest of the video. Color coordination. So yeah, color coordinating your earrings and your nails and your toenails and your outfit and your eyeliner and other makeups. It's a whole new world to me. I've obviously must have seen it, I must have been aware of it, but the more I think about it and the more I notice it, the color coordination that women really connect with colors because of our ancestry of women being the gatherers of fruits and berries. Women tend to be much more good at recognizing different shades and tones of colors where men fall and fail in that area. So women being much more connected to colors, having that as almost a negative in this modern age where color coordination with your outfit and your toenails and everything else could be a bad thing. So color coordination, another way for industries to sell you more junk that you don't need. All right. Brand attachment and loyalty. Where do you start with that? You know, that's just every industry wants you to be loyal to them, so you spend all your money with them forever and ever and ever. Amen. We could go into that for a long time. Right, this video's going on a little bit, so I need to move along a bit quicker. And I keep getting a message saying storage full, so I better hurry up. Brand attachment. Right, multiple personalities, reinventing oneself, a persona for the day. Maybe you want to be an office businesswoman on one day, and maybe the next day you want to be more of a soccer mom and be more sporty. And so you'd have a different outfits, different color coordination, and different colors and tones that you would use for different days. Again, it's way over my head. I don't know much about that. OCD rituals like making tea or rolling a joint. There's a ritual some women find in regards to putting on their makeup in a particular routine, in a particular way, and helping them feel like they started their day in a good way, should that work out well for them. Okay. Anxieties of no makeup. If, for example, you're going camping or you're caught on the, caught on the cuff. No, if you're caught short and suddenly you're spending a weekend away and you don't have fresh makeup, things like that, that can cause a lot of anxiety for women, you know, or crying, something they watch a cinema where the film's very sad and they cry, and then they may feel bad and be anxious that when they get out the cinema, their mascara will be running down their face and spoil their date. stuff again that I don't know much about. Makeup. Body dysmorphia. Again, like I say, contouring your face with different types of makeup and worrying about what your body looks like in the mirror and what it really looks like. There's a whole can of worms to open up there. It's really deep and not time for or the place for this video, but a serious issue. Moving on quickly. Men, theatre. So men in theatre years ago would dress up as women because it was illegal to dress up as a woman or wear women's clothing unless you were in the theatre pretending to be a woman for Shakespearean times and plays and things like this. But now is much more used for trans men, trans women, and for all different types of people now. So yeah, men are buying hand lotions. Some men are buying blusher or and whatever else they want to put on their bodies. Not just makeup, but also like perfumes and sprays and things like that. Right, okay. The psychological impact of getting older and deluding yourself and not embracing age that like I said earlier, you have to be really young, you have to be good looking, and you have to be this or you have to be that. Really put on to buy more makeup and spend more money. It's really sad that we get stuck into that kind of mentality, that psychological impact. And then finally, we talk about children. A student of mine said the other day that she was mortified to find that her child had come down from her friend's house, come downstairs when she met her to pick her up, and she was covered in makeup, and how the other parent was, oh no, it's fine, I let my children do it, and I think my student said her child was 6 years old and she was mortified. And from an early age, children want to wear makeup. They want to mimic their parents. They want to mimic their mum. So not just the adult clothes, but the adult makeup. And they don't really understand the implications of makeup and why young people wear makeup to try and make themselves look older, to get into nightclubs, to be able to smoke, to be able to buy alcohol, to get into get older men or to attract other men. All right, so the whole psychological aspect of young girls and makeup is another can of worms, a real big scary thing that we generally don't want our children to wear makeup because of the implications and where it leads to. Not just talking about getting it in their eyes and hurting themselves or in their mouths, but the whole psychology of it. It's real sad, and if it's not looked after, it can go very, very south in a bad way. Okay, so in conclusion, I think a good part of this now is how a lot of society is becoming educated and learning for themselves and trying to be role model for their peers and for future children, not being sucked into this advertising and society norms. Is a real way of empowering men and women to make more informed choices. Informed choices. Everybody has the freedom to make a choice, and that's everybody's prerogative to be able to make that choice. But it is still very sad that society and the advertising agency are still really pushing these expectations and that women and men and people should be buying all these products that aren't necessarily good for them. Well, that's it for today. If you have any more thoughts or stories or experiences you'd like to share, message down in the comments and we'll have a conversation. Right, so thank you for listening, and as always, have fun learning. If you don't have fun, you're not going to learn. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.